welcome to Mr. Adam Curry, the co-host of No Agenda. Hey, Adam, how are you?
I'm good, Glenn. Never a boring moment.
Yeah. There's a few things going on just today. By the way, where are you now?
I'm in beautiful hill country, Texas, Fredericksburg, where I live.
God bless you. Okay. So Adam, yesterday, first of all, love to hear your take on Nord Stream 2.
Yeah, so first of all, this has CIA or us written all over it. I mean, I just don't see, who else could have done this? And it seems like an out-of-control administration, which is probably run by intel agencies, would do something like this. And now we're seeing two things. One, should have taken Victoria Nuland very seriously in 2014 when she said F the EU. I mean, that's exactly what, especially with this blowing up of the Nord Stream. Now, we don't exactly know if there's one and two, but I think they're both inoperable at this point.
Yeah.
It's unlikely that Russia would do that, of course, because they could just turn it off at the source. This guarantees that Russian gas is not going to come into Europe for a long time, at least not in any kind of volume, even though it was quite low. So we want to screw Russia. I think you and I talked that they already took Russia off SWIFT, which is the international payment settlement system that the banks use. And what we saw when this first started with Europe saying, we don't want your gas, we're going to limit it, we want a price cap, all these things that they were trying to do to get rid of dirty Russian fossil fuels so we can transition to the green digital economy. I mean, this is what Queen Ursula von der Leyen said just a week and a half ago. Russia has gas. You can't shut down these gas production plants because if you do, it takes a long time to spin them back up, and you will never get the same amount of gas back out as you did previously. So they've been burning the methane at their gas fields for several months now, and the Bitcoining community has always looked at burn-offs as a great source of energy on site to mine Bitcoin.
Right.
And there's many, many companies and projects doing that all over the U.S., Wyoming, Texas, all over the place. So for Russia to say, hey, we need an international payment settlement system, Bitcoin is exactly for that. It works incredibly well for large payment settlements, things that can be done within 10 minutes, so not consumer transactions. And it is immutable, Glenn. It cannot be removed, blocked, or sanctioned by any government at that level whatsoever. If Russia really is serious, and from the reporting it seems like they might be, if they start mining Bitcoin, that will be a game changer. I don't know if they will, but we'll know if they do because it'll start showing up on everybody's radar. That could be a very big competitor to the U.S. dollar.
So, I think Bitcoin is the answer to so many of the world's problems. But the United States yesterday just came out and said, digital currencies not going to be anonymous, but we're moving forward with it. We're going to put it on hold, but we are going to move forward after some more studies. In fact, give me a little clip of what Chairman Powell said yesterday.
We think that there are four characteristics of, if we were to pursue a CBDC, it would at a minimum have the following four characteristics. First is intermediated. Second is privacy protected. But third is identity verified. So it would not be anonymous. It would not be an anonymous bearer instrument. And fourth is transferable or interoperable. So we would be looking to balance privacy protection with identity verification, which has to be done, of course, in today's traditional banking system as well.
So tell me what all that means to the average person.
At this point, the way the financial system has been screwed up, there is no way out. So we keep raising rates, and now this is happening all over the world. The UK screwed it up. We're seeing that in their currency, and the result of all of these problems we have, of course, the U.S. dollar is skyrocketing. Everybody wants a dollar. Everybody wants a dollar. But the the inflation cannot be subdued anymore by raising rates. So the concept of a CBDC, a central bank digital currency, is that the Federal Reserve, that's the commercial banks who sounds like they're part of the government, they are going to control the creation of the money supply digitally, but then they can manipulate that whenever they want, mainly by removing money from you. So you'll have $100 in your CBDC wallet, but really it's 100.00000, 18 zeros, I think. And they will be able to devalue the currency or increase its value when necessary just by adding or subtracting zeros to your account. This is in the plans. This is the core function of the central bank digital coin, along with because it's not anonymous, because they do verification, because you will be known, they can determine which of these dollars can do certain things. They're not saying that, of course, but that's built into the protocols.
Correct.
And they can't do that with Bitcoin. They might be able to do it with something like Ethereum, and I'll just explain very quickly the difference between these two. Bitcoin was the first blockchain digital currency. In my opinion, just like God sometimes works through man's hand with doxers, this is God-given because it is sovereign. It's open. Everyone can see what it does. There's no gaming the system, and it's run by people who just run a Bitcoin node. There's about 40,000 in the world. It should be millions. Because of the way Bitcoin was set up, anybody can run it on a Raspberry Pi, like a $100 computer. You can become part of the network. Ethereum, particularly with the change they recently made to make themselves look greener, have essentially put all of the control of Ethereum, and by the way, Ethereum has a CEO, Bitcoin doesn't, have put all of that control into 6 major players who stake, i.e. they put their money into the system to guarantee transactions and that it's all working. In the real world, what that means, if you go and look at what can I buy with Bitcoin, what can I buy with Ethereum, Ethereum is pretty much for NFTs, and it's for creating all kinds of financial, decentralized financial instruments, and it's kind of like a Wall Street. You don't really see things priced with Ethereum. In Bitcoin, though, you can do true micropayments. You can, if you look online, pay with Bitcoin is everywhere. We as people need to prepare and start just using it. You don't have to invest in it. Bitcoin is. It's a commodity. The SEC has even come out and said that versus Ethereum, which is a security, i.e. you're not really buying a currency, you're buying a piece of a stock of a company that is doing stuff. Bitcoin is like gold as a commodity because it takes huge amounts of energy to create it. You can't produce anything without energy. It's just the result is a digital thing that can be traded, so it has true value. Learning how to use it, with $5 or $10 is going to be very advantageous because you will either want to have certain transactions peer-to-peer or international payments that you just will not want the U.S. government to see anymore. I mean, because cash is going to go away, and that's very, very critical. And what we're seeing is, sorry.
No, I was going to say, you just said you wouldn't want the government to see some of these transactions. I mean,
correct.
I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not a drug dealer, Adam Curry.
Not today.
Yeah.
Not today. No, but you could be watching the wrong movie. You could be purchasing too much meat. But I think that this is where it will truly go, is here's your carbon footprint. When you eat beef, you have more carbon footprint. We really need to regulate how much people are eating beef. So you can do a couple of things. You can find a rancher near you and do some direct transactions. But in that case, you also want to have a way to do that transaction that is quick, that is accountable, and cash may just not be on hand anymore, or the amount of cash you need. That could become illegal. I mean, that's more likely than, oh, you're a drug dealer. No, you're a beef eater.
Right.
That's where you need to get on the bugs and the soy.
Right. And that is the thing that when you were talking about earlier, that it can be programmed. It can say you only get so much beef, and once you've hit that limit, it automatically will not buy beef. You
Correct.
can't buy gas on a certain day. This is the way that they make the modern monetary theory work. If they feel
have to, yeah,
right,
yeah, they jumped in, they went with it, and now they have to continue it.
correct. And so you have a stimulus package. You'll just have $100 in your Bitcoin account from the Federal Reserve, and you'll just go to your Federal Reserve Bitcoin account, and you'll have 24 hours to spend it. So spend it whatever you want, but they want that stimulus right now. When they have to pull things back because prices are going up, they just say, can't buy that now.
And everything points towards the carbon market. This is what Europe announced. They're reopening or reestablishing their carbon markets so that you can trade carbon credits, not just on a corporate, but on individual level. And by the way, I think just having listened to Madame Fifi Lagarde over there at Atlantic Council about the European digital euro, I think that's going to come very quick. They're going to go very fast. They're in deep, deep trouble. And she's now just saying, yeah, we're going to do this. We're going to get this going. And here's the parameters. It will happen. And so it will be not just you've been outlawed, but your whole life will be based around carbon. I mean, this is the most convincing argument they have. Carbon, and by the way, it used to be carbon dioxide. It's turned into carbon somehow. Carbon is killing the world. We're the ones responsible for it. Will your budget for the year. Fill it in the way you want. You want to eat beef, you eat beef, but you may not be able to drive. So it's going to be more based on that, and people will be told to take responsibility by staying within your carbon limits. That, I think, is where it seems most logical because they have all those pieces on the table.
Adam, I'm going to take a 1-minute break, and when we come back, I would like to ask you the most likely time frame of all of this. When does this become a reality? In 60 seconds. Sometimes it feels like finding a good real estate agent is like finding a sharp needle in a haystack filled with dull needles. Here's a hint. If your real estate agent doubles as a Walmart greeter or is this a part-time job, not a good bet. I used to get really frustrated dealing with mediocre real estate agents and not knowing what makes a good one. Well, I don't know. I like her. I like her. I like him. He's nice, easy to talk to. That doesn't make a good real estate agent. RealestateAgentsITrust.com is my company. It's a free service to you, and it pairs you up with the best agents, both in your area that you're moving from and the one you're moving to. These agents know all of the best practices, the tips and the tricks that will turn your house selling and buying experience into success. Your situation is unique. It needs the touch of an expert. Check them out. Free service to you, realestateagentsitrust.com. That's realestateagentsitrust.com. 10 seconds, station ID. So back with Adam Curry. Adam, what do you think the timeline is before this is a reality?
Well, I am under no illusion that they haven't been preparing this central bank digital currency for a long time.
Right.
Typically, when it comes to digital stuff like this and telecommunications, whenever I talk to someone who has been in an agency or knows things, I'm like, wow, you guys were looking at the effects of social networking in the 70s, really? And they have. So I think they may be much further along than they're letting on. So 2023 would be the optimal. This is not the right time, obviously, certainly for the dollar with the elections. I don't think Europe will get it done before the end of the year either. But in 2023, I expect these things to happen. More importantly, back home, just yesterday, an $80 million investment was announced purely for marketing, since the system doesn't take much more, of Strike. And Strike there's a beautiful, what we call layer 2 to Bitcoin called the Lightning Network. And the Lightning Network it's an analogy to Venmo. It's like Venmo for Bitcoin. You have it on your phone. You got a couple $100 in there. You can connect it to your bank, or you can load it up however you want to do it. And you can make peer-to-peer payments, as small as a hundredth of a penny if you want to. It's completely programmable, scriptable. You can do anything you want with it. You don't need permission to use it. And they actually, the strike with Jack Mallers is this young man's name. He happens to be part of a very famous Chicago commodities family, so they understand commodities, which Bitcoin is. And they have had a lot of success in El Salvador and other South American countries for cross-border payments. So you can literally get the Strike wallet today, and you can load up a wallet, charge it, connect it to your bank if you want to. You can always disconnect it and learn how to use it. Learn. And then when the clamps come down, which I think they will, you'll already know how to use it. You may have a little bit of Bitcoin, and you'll be able to live with some sovereignty as things start to crumble. Will that be needed in 2023? Maybe. I don't know. I do a lot in Bitcoin already, and people should do that too. Just to be ready. It's no better or worse than getting some food in the house and some water and some ammo. You just need to have these things as part of your arsenal. It's crazy how many people here in Hill Country, like, we got my boy Paul, who does the septic tank, and Eric, who mows the lawn, and they're all coming up and saying, "Hey, man, explain Bitcoin to me." And I'm happy to do it. And so now we transact that way. This is what we need to do, parallel economy.
Adam, I've got 45 seconds left. Let me end where we began. Do you think this Nord Stream 2 leads into war? Or let me ask it this way. Do you believe that this is our generation's Cuban Missile Crisis?
Yes, propagated by many of the very same people on both sides of the equation. This will be a Wikipedia page in the future, but global war, nuclear war, no. Financial, it's a currency war. That's how it's going to go down.
Adam Curry, thank you very much. Always good talking to you. Thanks, Adam.
Likewise, Glenn. Sure.
Co-host of No Agenda. You can find him. His website is adam.curry.com, and you can follow him on Twitter at adamcurry. All right. Coming up in just a second.